Why has it taken me until game week 22 of the Premier League to see for myself just how special this Bournemouth side is? Seriously, why did I not know about this? You're telling me Bournemouth fans have been watching this champagne football week in, week out? This is incredible. Even with 9 first-team players out, this is clearly one of the best teams in the Premier League. They are stacked with talent, completely fearless and outrageously entertaining to watch. Seeing them beat Newcastle 4-1 at St James's Park was beyond impressive. And that win, by the way, moves them up to 6th in the table. Why hasn't the media made more noise about this phenomenal Bournemouth side? Honestly, I don't know, but we need to talk about them. So let's discuss AFC Bournemouth, their star players, how exceptionally they are run, and why this group under Andoni Iraola could deliver their most iconic season ever. Bournemouth's story to date is a pure football fairy tale. In 2009, they were on the brink of non-league football. They started that League 2 season with a 17-point deficit for financial troubles. But that season, they pulled off the great escape. Their 2-1 win over Grimsby Town on the last day remains legendary. Fast forward to 2015, and Eddie Howe had completely turned their fortunes around, taking them from League 2 to their first ever Premier League season. After 5 thrilling years in the top flight, relegation in 2020 was a tough moment for the club. But shortly after, the Cherries bounced back, proving their resilience. Now, under Iraola, Bournemouth are disrupting the Premier League in style, and honestly, I'm here for it. Bournemouth's 4-1 victory over Newcastle felt like a statement win. You have to remember, coming into this game, Eddie Howe's Newcastle were in red-hot form and on a 9-game winning streak. It seemed kind of poetic, though, that Bournemouth's former saviour would have that run ended by the side which he helped to transform. For Bournemouth, this was dominant, front-footed football from minute 1 to minute 90 that left Newcastle shell-shocked. Let's dive into some of the outstanding players and the system that made it happen. And where better to start than the hat-trick hero himself, Justin Kluivert. For the aged among us, seeing a Kluivert score a hat-trick isn't new. But Justin Kluivert, son of Patrick, produced a hat-trick performance against Newcastle that felt like a coming-of-age moment. His goals were clinical, versatile, and frankly, elite. Each goal showcased a different facet of his talent. The third one was the pick of the bunch, though, a screamer from outside the area. It was a drop the mic, take a bow moment. Justin's journey is pretty remarkable. He was once hailed as Ajax's next big thing, but his career kind of flatlined a little. He had okay stints with Roma, Leipzig, and Valencia. But now, under Iraola, he's thriving in a system that plays to his strengths, and his confidence is sky high. For just 12 million, Bournemouth have landed a player that looks like he could easily slot into any title challenging side. And he's only 24 years of age. Justin Kluivert clearly isn't living off of his surname. He's carving out his own cherry-flavoured red and black legacy. Now listen, Kluivert might have grabbed the headlines, but Bournemouth's dominance was anchored by a rock-solid defense, which is marshalled by a 19-year-old defensive prodigy. Let's talk Dean Huijsen. When Bournemouth signed Dean Huijsen from Juventus, expectations were somewhat tempered. After all, this was a 19-year-old defender with very limited senior experience. But his performance against Newcastle was colossal. Given the job of marking Alexander Isak, a striker who's been destroying the Premier League's best defenders, Huijsen didn't just survive, he thrived. He was dominant in aerial duels, impeccable in his reading of the game, and unnervingly calm under pressure. His presence actually forced Isak out wide and dropping deeper to try and find some space. And what sets Huijsen apart is he doesn't just defend, he also helps build attacks. In that match, he completed 92% of his passes, and he has in his locker incisive line-breaking passes, which allow him to turn defense into attack with ease. Watching him, you'd think you was watching a Van Dijk regen. And to be honest, he just might be. The fact that Bournemouth paid only 13 million for this guy is completely insane. Now they've got one of the world's top defensive talents who is developing at a frightening pace. With Huijsen at 19 and his impressive defensive partner Zabani just 22, Bournemouth's young centre-back pairing could be the best young pairing in world football. Now, while Huijsen was the immovable wall, another 19-year-old was the unstoppable force, dominating both ends with unmatched energy and confidence. Let's talk Milos Kerkez. Milos Kerkez, where do we even begin? First of all, he is an absolute unit. His display against Newcastle was everything you'd want from a modern fullback. He was physical, he was defensively solid, and he was always providing an attacking threat. He was overlapping constantly, which was stretching Newcastle's defense and creating space for his teammates. And his goal to seal the win, a tidy step over, and then a powerful and clinical finish past Dubravka. With his 5 tackles and 3 interceptions in the game, Kerkez kept Newcastle's right-hand side quiet. This season, he has 5 goal contributions from left-back, and honestly, for a 19-year-old, he is ridiculously polished. Europe's top clubs are undoubtedly gonna come calling. But for now, Kerkez is an essential part of Iraola's Bournemouth machine, and he is a joy to watch play. Now, while Kerkez owned his flank, the driving force of this Bournemouth side is their engine room, the midfield, where Ryan Christie and Tyler Adams run the show. Bournemouth's dominance against Newcastle was born in the midfield. Ryan Christie and Tyler Adams were fearless. They brought energy, they brought intensity and control. Constantly disrupting Newcastle's rhythm and forcing errors. But he's not just a disruptor, like he can play. And that was shown in his perfectly weighted pass to Semenyo that became the pre-assist for Kluivert's first goal. Tyler Adams as well brings more steel to the midfield, more composure and more relentless tackling. But he's also very tidy on the ball and had a 90% pass completion rate. Together, the two of them just completely overran Newcastle midfield, which, by the way, is a midfield that's been overrunning everybody else's for weeks. Christie and Adams were the energy and the synergy in that midfield that drove this Bournemouth victory. And honestly, they are a massive headache for any opponent to deal with. Now, while Christie and Adams were controlling the midfield, Antoine Semenyo brought the chaos in attack. Here's why he is every defender's worst nightmare. And Semenyo, what a player. This was a dazzling display from Semenyo, who honestly was unplayable. His electric pace, his clever movement, and his physicality pulled Newcastle's defenders out of position and created space for his teammates to shine. While he didn't get his name on the score sheet, his fingerprints were all over this 4-1 win. Semenyo perfectly embodies the methodical madness of Iraola's system. This win was a collective masterclass with every player stepping up to make a statement. We've highlighted a few of their standouts, but everybody was at it. Lewis Cook, recoverer of 2 ACLs in the same knee, deputising at right back, was so solid. He was so impressive. His overlapping runs, he was providing an outlet down that flank. He was great. You had Ilya Zabriani, who was a rock in the defence. He was calmly shutting down Newcastle's attack like he was a seasoned pro. Further up the pitch, you had David Brooks, who was bringing flair and sharpness. He was picking out clever passes. He was giving Bournemouth's attack some extra bite. Meanwhile, you got Dango Ouattara's pace and directness, which were a constant headache for the Magpies. To a man, every player stepped up and delivered a commanding performance at one of the toughest grounds to go to in the league. And when you see this united effort, this is reflective of Iraola's progressive philosophy, blending football art with tactical science, and he uses it to outplay the Premier League's very best sides. Let's talk about the man at the helm, Andoni Iraola, the driving force behind Bournemouth's remarkable rise. Under Andoni Iraola, Bournemouth have become one of the Premier League's most exciting teams. Iraola himself is a supremely confident man, and that confidence now flows through this Bournemouth side. They blend attacking ball pressures with incisive direct attacks. They're averaging the 3rd most shots in the league, despite having some of the lowest possession stats. It's a high risk, high reward approach. Iraola emphasizes collective bravery. The players press in packs to win the ball in dangerous areas. Another thing that's impressive about Iraola is that his willingness to innovate extends beyond football. Listen to this quote from him. I love watching other sports, basketball, cycling, and even the NFL. There's so much to learn about space, tactics, and team dynamics. This willingness that he has to adapt and innovate, along with his hands-on, detail-oriented approach, ensures that every player understands his role and thrives in it. Against Newcastle, this philosophy was on full display and it worked to devastating effect. But behind every great system is a well-built squad. And Bournemouth's recruitment has been key to their success. But just how have they assembled such a transformative team? Behind Bournemouth's success lies Masterful recruitment. Under their former technical director, Richard Hughes, the club gained a reputation for unearthing hidden gems like Jefferson Lerma, Philip Billing, and Dominic Solanke. Hughes also played a key role in appointing Andoni Iraola and securing players like Dean Huijsen and Justin Kluivert, who fit seamlessly into Bournemouth's system and philosophy. Now, though, a club legend, Simon Francis, has taken over as technical director, and he's looking to build on Hughes' legacy, ensuring that Bournemouth's recruitment strategy continues to deliver. Players are chosen not just for their talent, but also for their character, which stays true to the club's honourable values. It's this thoughtful approach that has built a team capable of disrupting the Premier League, and they're laying a foundation of success for the future. With their elite recruitment, Bournemouth are redefining what's possible when you have a clear and unique philosophy. Bournemouth is a model for everybody to look at and see how to achieve your ambitions with balance and sustainability. They're not just throwing money at problems, they're solving them with strategy and smarts. The club feels so united, all the way from the boardroom to the pitch. But the big question is, how far can this Bournemouth team go? With performances like the 4-1 beating of Newcastle, their potential feels limitless. They're not here to just scrape by. They're here to disrupt, excite, and make history. A top half finish now is almost certain, and a push for Europe is 100% on. And look, we know the Premier League is a marathon, not a sprint. But if Bournemouth maintain this confidence and this cohesion that they've shown, anything is possible for them. There is something truly magnetic about this team. Their energy, their style, their willingness to challenge the best. It kind of makes it hard not to like this team. So here's to the Cherries. Thank you for rising above expectations, daring to dream, and showing the league what true ambition looks like. Football bread.